Greetings and welcome to the Reparenting Daily podcast. In this podcast, we'll dive deep into reparenting, exploring all of the tools and resources that you'll need to help you along your journey. This podcast is divided into 3 sections. The first is a daily reading. The second is a discussion of the reading, followed by suggested journal prompts. And the last section is a peaceful meditation for closing. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from whenever and wherever you're joining us. I'm so glad you've joined us today on this journey of self-expansion and growth. If this is your first time here, welcome. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe this podcast wherever you're listening, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Your help here really makes a huge difference in allowing us to spread the word and build a more supportive community as we continue with our self-reparenting. Now, before we get started, I have some quick updates for you. First, I'd like to introduce our Patreon community. Here, for a small monthly fee, you can join us for 3 weekly meetings for additional support with your reparenting journey. On Sundays, we have a meditation group. On Tuesdays, we have a book club discussion. And on Thursdays, we have open topic conversations. You can find out more details about this if you go to the Reparenting Daily website and check out on the community tab. In addition to that, we also have a WhatsApp group to foster more daily connection and support for whenever you need it. And this is a community of fellow travelers from around the world who will always be there when help is needed. It's just one of the many ways that we're building our network of resources that are really going to help support your reparenting journey. For the next update, I'm very excited to announce that I've just released some first books. The first is probably the most important, and it's called the Reparenting Daily Journal. Now, this journal is a daily guide for 365 days of the year. We'll be starting in 2025, and basically each month corresponds to a theme in reparenting, and each week of each month corresponds to a sub-theme of the monthly theme. Now, from the beginning of the year, 2025, each daily episode will correspond with the themes in the daily workbooks. And so you can use this as a guide to work through your reparenting journey to stay focused, ensuring that you cover all of the most critical areas within a year's time. And again, this will be aligning up with the podcast, so you can use both of these to make a more engaging and interactive experience. This is ensuring that you really book progress on your reparenting journey. The next set of books I've written is called Fairy Tales for Reparenting. This is a collection of 3 books that contain short stories or fairy tales inspired from Jungian analysis, mythology, philosophy, and psychology that really is targeted to helping you connect to your inner child. And so these stories are very short. They're not very long. They're written in a very simple manner so that it's not too taxing on you, so you can more easily connect with the joy and fun of your inner child. More interestingly, however, is that at the end of each story, there's an analysis section that really analyzes the main themes and concepts within each story to provide encouragement and inspiration. Additionally, you will find corresponding journal prompts after each story and each analysis section to help you reflect deeper on how the themes of each fairy tale can be reflected and correspond to your own personal journey as you work towards self-expansion. You can find all of these books now available on Amazon, so go ahead and give us a look and give us some support. And as I've mentioned before, this entire process of reparenting and self-expansion is really about growth, iterative change, and continuous improvement. Much like the process of nurturing the bonsai tree, our reparenting journey requires our consistency and care. So many thanks for being here and for supporting this project, and also to committing on your journey of self-expansion. Now, without further ado, let's dive into today's practice. Today's reading is from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. Today we're reading from the section, Why Small Habits Make a Big Difference. It's so easy to overestimate the importance of one defining moment and to underestimate the value of making small improvements on a daily basis. Too often, we convinced ourselves that the massive success requires massive action. Whether it is losing weight, building a business, writing a book, winning a championship, or achieving any other goal, we put pressure on ourselves to make some earth-shattering improvement that everyone will talk about. Meanwhile, improving by 1% isn't particularly notable. Sometimes it isn't even noticeable, but it can be far, far more meaningful, especially in the long run. The difference a tiny improvement can make over time is astounding. Here's how the math works out. If you can get 1% better each day for a year, you'll end up with 37 times better by the time you're done. Conversely, if you get 1% worse each day for the year, you'll decline nearly down to 0. What starts as a small win or a minor setback accumulates into something much, much more. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. The same way that money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. They may seem to make little difference on a given day, and yet the impact they deliver over months and years can be simply enormous. It's only when you start looking back 2, 5, perhaps 10 years later that the value of good habits and the cost of bad ones becomes strikingly apparent. This can be a difficult concept to appreciate in daily life. We often dismiss small changes because they don't seem to matter much in the moment. If you save a little money now, you're still not a millionaire. If you go to the gym 3 days in a row, you're still out of shape. If you study in Mandarin for an hour tonight, you still have not learned the language. We make a few changes, but the results never seem to come quickly, and so we slide back into our previous routines. Unfortunately, the slow pace of transformation also makes it easy to let bad habits slide. If you eat an unhealthy meal today, the scale doesn't move much. If you work late tonight and ignore your family, they will forgive you. If you procrastinate and put off your projects until tomorrow, there will eventually be time to finish them later. A single decision is easy to dismiss. But when we repeat 1% errors day by day, replicating poor decisions, duplicating tiny mistakes, and rationalizing little excuses, our small choices compound into toxic results. It's the accumulation of many missteps, a 1% decline here and there, that eventually leads to a problem. Thanks for being here, and that's the reading for today. Welcome back. Small habits often seem inconsequential in the moment, and yet James Clear's section, Why Small Habits Make a Big Difference, in his book Atomic Habits, highlights the transformative power of these seemingly minor actions. Clear explains that habits compound over time, much like a small financial investment that accrues significant interest. By focusing on small, consistent changes in your daily routine, you set yourself on a trajectory of continual improvement. Even a 1% change in your behavior, repeated daily, can yield monumental results in the long run. Relating this to the concept of reparenting, small habits become powerful tools for healing and self-transformation. Reparenting involves nurturing and guiding our inner child, which can feel overwhelming if we attempt to address every single childhood wound or pattern at once. Yet, as Clear points out, significant change rarely comes from a single, overwhelming event. Instead, they arise from consistent, incremental actions. When you choose to speak kindly to yourself or set aside a few moments to reflect on your feelings, you're subconsciously recalibrating. Wow, that was really way too difficult. Your subconscious beliefs about your self-worth, safety, and love. Over time, these repeated gestures accumulate, creating a new default setting, if you will, one marked by self-compassion as well as resilience. Moreover, Clear underscores the importance of understanding identity and forming new habits. When we see ourselves as someone who shows up consistently for healthy choices, we begin to align our daily actions with that identity. In reparenting, it's viable to adopt the identity of a compassionate caregiver for your inner child. This shift sets the stage for the habits that reinforce a supportive internal environment, where self-sabotage behaviors begin to fade and healthier, more forming practices take root. Another key point is the role of immediate reward versus long-term benefit. Many small, healthy habits do not deliver instant gratification, but they gradually build the foundation of a deeper emotional safety and security over time. Each time you follow through on a habit, like journaling about your day or taking a short walk, you reinforce the message that you're worthy of care and consistency. Over time, these small acts help heal past neglect and self-doubt. Ultimately, Claire's insights on tiny incremental changes offers a profound framework for reparenting, focused on sustainable daily actions that nurture the self and watch them compound into lasting transformation. As we move on to the journal prompts for today, number 1, identify a small habit for inner care. Reflect on a small daily action that would help you feel supported and nurtured. What does this habit feel? Why does this habit feel meaningful to you and to your inner child right now? Number 2, explore your reparenting identity. Imagine yourself as a caring, consistent parent to your inner child. What attributes does that caring parent have? And how can you bring these qualities into your everyday habits? And the last question, celebrate your incremental wins. Look back at one positive change you've sustained over the week, over the month, or even a year. How did this small shift start to influence your self-image? And what does it reveal about the power of tiny, consistent action? Thanks for being here. As always, that's the reading. Take care of yourself and do be well. And now, let us move on to the final section, the daily meditation. This is an unguided meditation, and I will simply provide some music where you can take some time to relax. Please feel free to choose a location and a place where you feel safe and where you can be undisturbed for the next 10 minutes. You can choose to be sitting, standing, laying down, as you like, whatever makes you comfortable. Thanks for being here and enjoy the meditation.